What's up, guys? It is your boy, it is Anecdotal, and I'm back. And today, what we're going to talk about is probably the most important or most fun part of the game, at least for me, and that is guild boss raids. Now, a lot of people are having uh, disputes on the damage that they're doing in guild raids. Some saying, "Hey, I'm doing these guild boss raids. I'm a lot lower level, and I'm out DPSing you." That means damage per second. And some are really low levels or really high levels, and then they're arguing on who can do more damage and why. Now, like I said in my other video, level means a lot. If you don't reach a certain level, you're not going to be able to do the damage that you want. But of course, if you don't have the right team set up, then level kind of doesn't even matter at all. You need to go in with the right team, and the right team is what you see right here. There's some arguments on the placement of the last two units, but for the most part, everything here is fine. The first one you want to have is a succubus. Why the succubus? Well, because and let's go over here and look at the guild. I mean, at the stats. Why the succubus? Well, that's because the succubus casts a spell. It casts hearts, and since succubus is a female, it casts hearts on male troops. And what it does to the male troops is that it increases their movement speed and attack speed and disregards the slow skill of the enemy. So if you were trying to be slowed down, it's just not going to happen. And I believe that that does occur for scorpions. And it also increases some attack range for, I guess, range units, which would only matter against like Harpy and any other stage 2 boss. So why is it that we use Succubus? It just makes our troops go faster. Specifically, it's going to make your skeleton warriors move faster. So here, Succubus first. Why? Because it increases movement and attack speed while making sure that if you are trying to be slowed down by a boss, it won't happen. Now, next up we have a fairy. And I put a fairy both second on the slot and last. Now, the reason for that is because fairies give you a huge speed buff as well. So when you see those wings on the fairy go up to all your other guys, you're going to see a huge boost. So what it says is that it speeds up surrounding friendly units' movement and casts wings of fairies, which makes them immune to knockback and blow for a certain amount of time. That is amazing. That is just out of this world great. First of all, you go way, way faster. Like, it doesn't give you a percentage of speed here, but let me tell you, those wings will make you fly. And second, being resistant or immune to knockback and blowback is great. So many times that they'll have a hammer or some sort of a hammer type move, or they'll blow at some point like Harpy does, and this will just negate all of that. Why is that a good thing? Well, because instead of hitting the boss, you're getting knocked around. And when you're getting knocked around, you're not giving or producing any damage. So what you want to do is make sure to have fairies. The second super great upside to having a fairy is that you're completely immune to damage and increase some HP when you get the fairy pet up to 5 stars. It is a huge, huge difference and very valuable to have the pet for the fairy, which is Tinky, which you should all be trying to get for the extra skips anyways. Now, the next thing that you want to have is a Valkyrie. Now, that was the last, I believe, or the second to last unit to come out, honor unit to come out. I think it was either the 7th or 8th honor units. Let's go ahead and go to Valkyrie. Valkyrie gives you guys a huge buff. If you don't know, before the Hippo meta, there was the Valkyrie meta. It was all about the buff that these Valkyries gave. Everyone was using humans because this was the best thing to have in the past. Why? Well, guys, it gives a huge buff both while attacking and after death. It raises the basic attack speed. I mean, the basic game speed, that doesn't really matter. Increases movement speed and attack range of human units. Huge, huge boost. And it makes you immune to paralysis. Great. Another way a boss can stop you from producing damage is by paralysis, and this negates that. So anytime you can increase your speed and make sure that you are not slowed down, it's perfect. And your damage output is huge. Where it says skill attack, you see that it casts the Valkyrie buff, which raises your attack your movement and your attack speed for a short time, and it is amazing. Just amazing. And according to this, units have a 50% chance to receive Valkyrie buff, and the buff stats increase whenever the Valkyrie is transcended, which means that I have a T3 Valkyrie on this team, so I get the ultimate buff. So guys, you should totally, completely T3 your Valkyrie for the higher buff. And also when you're doing personal raids, Valkyrie is like S tier. You know, it's a great person to have. Next is a sorceress. Why do you want a sorceress? Oh, well, crowd control. You want to make sure that you don't get CC'd to death. So let's go ahead. Orc. There you go. Sorceress. Now, the sorceress is basically RNG, which means you get what you roll. If you have the red totem and your boss is trying to stun you, you will be anti-stun. Nice. If you get the blue totem, that means you'll be immune to frost, which is right now useless because no one tries to freeze you. And if you get the green totem, you are immune to knockback, which is amazing. So basically, you just keep wishing to see a red or green totem. If it's blue, sucks for you. Does not help. Other than that, he does increase the movement and attack speed. Are you seeing the pattern? We're just increasing the amount of damage you do and how fast you do it, which also increases the amount of damage you do. All right, and last but not least will be another fairy, and of course you have the same reasons. Now, when should you use this team up? You should use this team up when you're facing ground ground bosses, such as the Famine Scorpion, the Flame Titan, and Lord of the Desert Belial, or any bosses except for the second bosses. So whatever stage you go into, what you want to do is you want to use this team setup for the first, Volcano Basilisk, the third, the Fire Demon Ignis, and the fourth, Fire Hell Lords Bahamut. You never want to face the second boss with this. Why? Because they're aerial bosses and you'll do absolutely like no damage to them. So this is a team. This is a setup that you want for the heroes or for the units. For the troops, you want to have the Skeleton Warrior because he has the highest DPS. You want to have the Elf Warrior, again, highest DPS for ground. And crazy enough here, you're actually just going to want the Musketeer. The first troop here is just kind of weak. The second is more of a tank with the armor. And the Firebird is, well, just dies super easily. And also just doesn't give as much DPS as the Musketeer. So the Musketeer is actually someone you're really going to need. And here we're going to go with the Orc Hunter. Obviously, every time he teleports, he's immune to damage and he does work. So he has high survivability and high damage. This is why you use him for TOT. And last here, we're going to go ahead and use the Archers at the end. Why? Because they have, again, the highest DPS and of course they also have the highest rarity. So it makes sense. The only time it doesn't would be right here. The Orc Wing does not out DPS the Orc Hunter in this case. Okay, so this is what you want to have when you're facing ground level bosses. Now, when you're going to face the aerial bosses, you're going to have to switch things up just a little bit. Now, I don't always do this switch, but you're going to replace the Sorceress with a Drummer, because the Drummer basically just boosts absolutely everything, and you want to switch to the Frost Mage. And this last fairy, where's my other fairy? Here you go. You just want to switch them all to archers. So here, Poison Archer. Here, High Archer. Here, you want to go with the Warlock over the Ghost. Warlock has been proven to do higher DPS, even though the Ghost can withstand more hits because it fades out sometimes. So you can go ahead and do your own testing, but I found that Warlocks worked a lot better for me. And of course, here you stick with the Musketeer, which means you got to make sure that your production value with your trainers is high. And this is the huge difference, guys, when you go ahead and you go and fight aerial bosses versus ground bosses. Well, that's a short video on raids. If you have any more questions on raids, maybe I'll do a part 2 and show you a little bit more of an in-depth discussion on what it is that you need to do for raids. So let's go ahead and see how we do with the quiz roulette. Please give me Dark Spirit. I could sure use it. to sacrifice it later. Oh, I'm not gonna get it, am I? Oh, maybe. Well, I mean, can you be mad at 100 gems? Well, comparatively, I'd say yeah. But hey, if you like what you heard, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to me, and of course, I'll see you on the next one. It's your boy, Anecdotal, and I'm out.